It's 5:30, and I'm going to call the City Council into session. We're now in session, please. Thank you. Tonight we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Pledge of the State Flag by Darren Trussell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for everybody for attending today. We have with us tonight Jake Friels, one of the pastors of the local church. Which church are you with now?
I'm not anymore.
You're not?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to lead us in invocation tonight.
Yes, sir.
Please come and lead us in invocation. Jake Friels.
Yeah.
Freelance.
Yeah.
There you go. He deserves it.
Yeah, let's pray. Oh, Father, we just thank you so much for who you are. And Lord, we just thank you that you gave us the ability to have freedom in this nation. You give us the ability to have freedom in this city. And Lord, I just thank you that as decisions are made and as wisdom and counsel comes, I pray that it would be about what does it mean to have a heart that's free, a life that's free. And I just ask that your Spirit would lead and guide. And you'd lead and guide each one of us. And Father, I just thank you for what you've done for our country, what you've done for our lives, what you've done for our families. And you paid the ultimate price of freedom. And Father, I just want to honor you in this moment, want to honor you in this time, and just have your way today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Jake. I want to say thank you to your family for raising the young man that they did. Appreciate you being here tonight. Typically, we have general discussion for specific, not for specific issues, general. Is there anybody who wants to speak to the City Council other than these items here, which we'll bring up during the P&Z discussion? Okay, hearing none, then we'll go to our regular agenda item. First thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize a few folks because of the COVID. So some of you all come down front. Alan? So I guess Dave, come on up here, Dave. You bring up your folks with us. Introduce your folks with us here tonight, and we'll get to say a little bit of word about you.
Sure, I'm Dave Harwood. I'm the Regional Vice President for Vi Broadband. This is Chris Milligan. He's the Regional Vice President for the commercial side of Vi Broadband. This is Diane Quinnell. She's our Corporate Vice President, Senior Vice President of Marketing.
We're here tonight to present Vi Broadband with a certificate of appreciation. Everybody knows we had that Jimmy and Chuck and all the others ran a great program downtown at the shopping center for shots. We needed to have high-band internet out there, and they gave us the high-band internet. So they donated that to us as a big savings to us as well. And so we're here to present to them for their support of the Erath County Vaccination Center during the COVID-19 pandemic. I want everybody to say thank you to them. You did a great job, and appreciate you. Give you an opportunity to speak.
Oh, I'll speak for a second. Yes. I work in the corporate department, so we're really excited. One of the things that we like to give back, we don't just provide services, but we like to serve our community. So I want to thank Stephenville, and I'm very excited that we were able to bring the high-speed internet to the vaccination center. Very impressed.
Thank you.
Well, I would like to just share a couple of things.
Yes.
I was so, Chuck, good seeing you there, right? I was so impressed. You know, I get the privilege to travel around these parts of the region, the Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas region, and I was so impressed with how quickly the vaccination center was spun up, right? And then you think about the people and how fast, the speed they went through the line was absolutely amazing. I sat there and I watched people coming through in like seconds, not minutes, and that's something that Stephenville should be very, very proud of, and we were just proud to be a part of it. And, with community involvement's one of our pillars of our organization. And the fact that you guys thought about us to be involved means a lot, and we look forward to continuing to be involved in this community.
You wanna say
Thank
something?
you. No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. All right, next one. I didn't see BW, where is he? There he is, come on up here. Related to the same thing, everybody I think in 20 counties knows BW.
Good to see you, man.
With the same thing that happened, BW, we stepped up, we needed a place to have this, needed for a longer period of time, needed a large space to have our vaccination center, and BW stepped up and gave us a really good access to a place out at the shopping center. And so today we're presenting BW with the key to the city for a generous support of the Stevensville community during the COVID-19 pandemic by ensuring the community had a local access to a vaccination center, presented this 6th day of July 2021. I want to say thank you. You've been a good citizen of Stephenville, and I appreciate all the help that you gave us during this.
Thank
pandemic.
y'all. It's not hard in this community to give. It's such a giving community anyway. So we appreciate it. We're glad we had it available. And anything anybody needs, you know we're always here. Thank y'all very much for still supporting the flag and the prayer in this park. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I just want to say one thing. That key doesn't fit any doors.
Grandson said, and I'm anxious to see what this is gonna fit. Thank you all.
I'm getting close.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, hold that picture up there. And the last one is to the man who put it all together, made it work, Chuck Elliott. Chuck will come up here. Now Chuck's getting a lot of recognition tonight, but I know his wife designed the whole thing. She's the smart one in the family. But Chuck made the thing happen. We stood up a program out there with, he'll tell you about all the support he had and the help he had, but it was Chuck's leadership, his desire to make it happen, and his cooperation with the city when things happen. He probably called some of y'all and said, I've got some extra vaccines today. Y'all want to come out and get some shots? So Chuck, for your outstanding leadership and successful operation of the Erath County Vaccination Center during the COVID-19 pandemic, we're presenting you the certificate of appreciation. Thank you for all that you do for the city of Stephenville. For how many years now?
39 and a half.
How many of you been here? 50? So you was a kid when he came.
I was, yes.
Okay, don't run on. Chuck has been around a long time, and he's a great servant to the city of Stephenville, and we appreciate your help. We also have a presentation from the city manager.
Chuck, one of the best things in my job is I get to recognize employees for service over and above the call of duty. For months, I saw you pulling out your hair, not knowing what we're gonna do next, but to the folks out here, it went as smooth as it possibly could. And through your leadership, that was able to happen. And so on behalf of the city council and the rest of the employees of the city, I'm presenting you with a little token of our appreciation.
When it was decided to do the COVID center out there, we were trying to get vaccines out there. We couldn't get vaccine. We decided we'd have a center, and we had the executive group met. I think it was like a Sunday afternoon or something. Anyway, we met and we decided we wanted it ramped up, and they said who could run it. And of course I knew Chuck could, and we charged him with having him and his team, he picked his team, and have it on the ground in 1 week. And they were given shots in a week.
Well,
Great job.
Met with the state of Texas on a conference Zoom call, and the lady who was in charge of all vaccinations was on the call, and I was texting with Alan and said, how much can we handle? Because you had to have 972, you could handle that many if they had a certain kind of freezer, et cetera, et cetera. And the question came, she said, how many can y'all handle? I said, we'll take 1,000 a week. Only reason I knew I could say this, because I knew Chuck would be running the place. So you did a good job. We appreciate that. We appreciate what you do for City of Stevensville for 39 years. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything you want to say to the group?
I do. I'm gonna accept this on behalf of the people of Stephenville, the county, and the state, because without everybody's help, this couldn't happen. We got our partners, our city partners, our pharmacies, our support of the city was tremendous, as well as our partnership with the county. The command staff that we did put together did the majority of the work. They gave me a Ferrari and just let me drive it. It was really quite impressive with all that support all the way up to the state level. It's real easy to do when you have a community full of volunteers and people that are willing to give, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Okay, we have a pretty good agenda tonight. Next item is considering the initiation of the abandonment of Block 700 of Fifth Avenue. Who's going to make the presentation? Nick is. You're actually volunteering to do that?
He was voluntold.
He was, oh, voluntold. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Team player. We go where we're needed. Staff received a request from an adjacent property owner in the 700 block of Fifth Avenue to abandon that section that is currently undeveloped. The abandonment process is a multi-step process. Tonight, all the staff is requesting is the authorization to abandon it. At that point, we would have to go to P&Z, and then an amount would have to be set based upon regulations in the ordinance, and it's in the memorandum attached to the agenda on how that process works. There is also an exhibit attached to the agenda item that shows that particular area. The Public Works Department has a 14-inch concrete diameter water line in that area, so we'd have to maintain an easement. There's also a 6-inch sanitary sewer, so we'd need to maintain an easement for that piece of property there. We also did reach out to the other departments, Development Services, Fire Department, Police Department. No objections were stated. Glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion? I guess that's what you're going to have is need a motion tonight to approve.
That's it.
Mayor, I move we approve the initiation and closing of the abandonment of the 700 block of Fifth Avenue with reservation of a utility easement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do I hear any discussion? Questions? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next item we have is the Finance Committee. Is Mr. Heskey online?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to turn it over to you. Justin, you want to handle it that way, or do you want Monica to handle it? Got to come off mute.
And he just left.
Oh, you just left the meeting. Okay.
He was just there.
I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead. We'll jump to item 4 on the Finance Committee report. Monica, I'm going to let you, where's Monica? There you go. I'm going to let you introduce the auditor.
Mayor, council.
Come on up to the microphone here so we can get you on recording. I know you don't like that, but none of us do.
Mayor, council, we have John Watson with Brooks Watson and Company, and he'll go over, we went over the audit in a pretty good detail on the committee meeting on the 15th. And so this is just to bring it to council for the final acceptance of it. So we're going to keep it a little short and sweet.
There you go. You come and introduce yourself, give your name and where you're located.
Great. My name is John Watson. I work for Brooks Watson and Company. We're located in North Houston. So we completed the audit over the city's 9/30/20 year end. So
Now, y'all can tell he's not from Texas.
you're very, I'm from Colorado
There you go.
originally, but I feel like I've been here long enough. I'm
Okay.
almost a Texan, about 11 years, which is funny. When I was in college, they thought I was from Texas, so I think I do.
Well,
have
you were
a
in
good
college in
Texan
Colorado,
accent.
that's why. So.
They don't know what a Texan accent
I apologize
is
for
down there.
interrupting you. Give Mr.
No,
Heskey
no.
a few more minutes to get online.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. A lot of details already gone over with the audit committee. So again, we completed the audit over the year ended 9/30/20. We completed that audit consistent with U.S. Gas. That's generally accepted auditing standards. Any audit over a city should follow those set of standards. It's a risk-based approach where we focus on areas most susceptible of risk of error from fraud or theft. And so that's the approach taken. City received an unmodified opinion, so there are no qualifications to our report. No inconsistencies we're aware of, so that's the highest level of assurance the CPA can provide. It's a good thing. City did a great job of getting us all the information to allow us to get to that point. City also received a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting, which not all cities do receive, so that's going above and beyond standard reporting duties. They've received that award for 31 consecutive years, which is a great thing, and I anticipate them receiving it again in the coming year. I'll just go over a couple high points of the results for the year. So as of 9/30/20, total assets exceeded total liabilities by $86,901,431. City's governmental funds reported combined ending fund balances of $24,404,000, which was an increase of $14,098,393. A lot of that was a bond offering during the year. Unassigned fund balance within the general fund was $9,576,000, which is 59% of your annual general fund expenditures. So you've got a little over half of a year, 50% would be half of a year worth of unassigned fund balance, which is a good place to be. Definitely anything above 3 months is healthy, so you're in a healthy position. Cities had an overall increase in net position for the year of $6,238,000. So really a lot of positive things. There's a couple letters that y'all should have. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal controls were noted. Some lesser items and then some changes with accounting are noted in those letters. So that's everything that I wanted to share, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? We had an opportunity for probably an hour and a half to visit with
Mike Brooks, yeah.
And so we may have all our questions answered. Anybody have anything you want to ask? Anything you want to say? The two big issues are unqualified opinion.
That's right.
That means there's nothing wrong. We can feel good about that. And the second thing is that we got another award. It goes credit to Monica and her staff. So, anybody else? I assume we have to accept it tonight. So, do I hear a motion to accept the audit report?
So move.
Have a motion by Gerald. Second by Ricky. Further discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. Thank you for the good work you did. Monica speaks highly of you guys.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Monica.
Is Mr. Haskey online?
He is.
Mr. Haskey, sorry we went ahead and took the financial report, but you want to talk about your committee report?
Mayor, I am online and I'm behind the wheel of the vehicle at the moment, so
Okay.
I don't think it's safe for me to.
Okay. What we'll do is, are you going to be behind that wheel before long?
I'm headed your way right now.
All right, we'll come back to your item then. We'll come back to item 2 or 3, the committee report on finance committee. So the next committee report is planning and zoning. Mr. Killian. And you always take up the most time. Just coincidental, but
It's entertaining, though.
yeah, there you go.
Mayor, Council, we actually only have 3 reports for tonight. We had one pulled earlier today.
Yeah, and the one that was pulled is items 7 and 8. So anybody who's following on the agenda, you can remove those 2 from your report.
So our first case, Mayor, is CP 2021-001. Applicant Justin Willis is requesting a conditional use permit pursuant to section 154.05.03C1 for a home occupation as defined in 154.03 for property located at 1422 Prairie Wind. This is parcel R31592 of Gulf Country Estates, addition, Block 4, Lot 5 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. It's currently zoned R1 with future zoning of single family. We have one letter of support in favor of this conditional use permit request. And just to provide a little background to you and the council, sir, the ATF reached out to the City of Stephenville staff and requested assistance on investigating or visiting this particular resident at 1422 Prairie Wind. ATF had mentioned that they had two areas of concern for the property, one being that when they authorize a license holder, that the license holder has to comply with all criteria of the city. And when you look at our home occupation, it lists 7 criteria. Two of those that they felt were being breached would be the traffic generated to the area and then also have an inventory on hand at the property. So this applicant consented to an inspection. The agent and our city staff went out to the property, which led to this conditional use permit request. With this request, if so granted, the applicant would be able to continue work under the ATF license. One sticking point with the ATF was that the license holder must conduct all transfers of firearms at the location listed on the application. This particular location is in a residential area, and so because of that, he could not bring traffic into the area by our ordinance, which prompted them to come to the city of Stephenville. So we certainly appreciate the ATF reaching out to us on this particular matter. We believe it's a good solution to this issue. We again have one letter in favor, and that's from a resident at 1425 Prairie Wind. The applicant also gave a pretty exhaustive explanation of his business, which is included in your packet. The Planning and Zoning Commission convened on June 16, 2021, and by a vote of 6-1 recommended that the City Council approve the conditional use permit. And one point I might add, Mayor and Council, is that this is the first conditional use permit that I've brought before you, but it's not the first that the City of Stephenville's heard. There was one in 2014, October of 2014. It was for a property on Inglewood with a very similar situation. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Steve, does staff have any objections to him operating that? From my understanding, it's going to be a minimal impact on traffic flow.
Yes, sir. I believe that's true. And based on what we do know about the business at this time, he first stated it was a hobby, but then it is a little bit beyond a hobby at this point. He does some pretty fascinating work, but I don't think it's just an excessive amount of traffic into the neighborhood. And I don't think his inventory that he had on hand is going to be much beyond just what he has in place to take care of that particular customer. So I do think it's going to be minimal effect on the neighborhood.
Were there any concerns from our fire or police or any of the other departments?
Sir, that's a great question, one that I didn't reach out to. We did ask that a police officer be involved, and we did converse with the police department on that, and no objections came from that discussion. But Chief, I'm sorry, I didn't think of reaching out to you as the fire chief on this particular case, so I apologize for that. But this is a ATF license on Ingleside, yes, sir.
If it's the same type deal, I don't believe the fire marshal will have a problem, but we could look into it.
Okay.
Anybody else? Hearing none, we're going to enter into a public hearing. And is there anyone who'd like to come speak in favor of the request? Seeing none, is there anybody want to speak in opposition to the request? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing and consider approval of conditional use permit pursuant to City of Stephenville Code of Ordinances, Section 154.05.03C1, conditional uses. Do I hear a motion?
Mayor, could I make a conditional motion?
No, you can only make a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the conditional use permit with the condition that the fire marshal inspect and have no issue with it.
Can we do that?
I don't know.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Come to the microphone and introduce yourself.
My name's Justin Willis. I am the applicant for the conditional permit. And the fire marshal was there for the inspection. And the only recommendation that he had was that a fire extinguisher be placed closer to my point of business, with just the garage. And that was already been taken care of. So that was the only thing that the fire marshal had to say while he was there.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm assuming
Yes,
the
sir.
fire marshal will give a report, then he can hang on the wall or something to show that. Does that answer your question?
With that in mind, I'll withdraw that and make the motion to approve the conditional use permit.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I'll just say, if there's any concern about traffic, I didn't realize until this morning that this is about 5 houses down from me, and I never knew it existed, so.
Good advertising. Let's proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same motion, same sign for no. Okay, motion passes. Okay, let's drop down to the next item, and that is item number 9. Steve?
Yes, sir. Case number RZ 2021-009 is applicant Toby O'Neill representing Ontate LLC. He's requesting a rezone of property located at 1083 Fry, which is parcel R32260 of the Kite Edition, Block 5, Lot 1 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Requesting a zoning change from R1 single family to residential R3 multifamily. Current zoning is single family with future land use being single family as well. The applicant is requesting the R3 zoning for multifamily to allow for the highest and best use of the property. Planning and Zoning Commission convened on June 16, 2021, and by a vote of 6-1, recommended the City Council deny the request for rezoning. 6 letters of opposition from 5 residents have been submitted in relation to this request and are included in your packets. And so just to provide clarification on that, we had 1 resident submitted 2 separate letters on this particular case. So I just wanted to point that out to you on the discrepancy between the 5 and the 6. And with that, Mayor, I'd be glad to answer any questions. I think we have the applicants here for this case, as well as several members.
Any questions for Steve? You're done with the applicant. Toby, you want to come and speak? Or Dale, one of the two? Introduce yourself and say where you're from, or where you live.
Gentlemen, Dale Burdick, 702 Prairie Wind.
How close are you to that new business?
You know, I don't know.
See, there we go.
I didn't know.
Like I said, you didn't even know it was there.
I'm glad I got that. Our goal for this property is very simple. It's to find the right buyer to restore the mansion and build high-end townhomes on that property, on the back. It's unfortunate that the city doesn't have a zone that fits just that. So we have to ask for the R3 zone because to build a quadplex townhouse has to be in an R3 zone. The R2 doesn't allow for it. We believe that given the surrounding zones and the surrounding conditions with the future land use on the south side of Fry Street being multifamily as well, that this is the highest and best use for the property. I want to make it very clear that under no circumstances do I want to sell this to somebody who thinks it's economically viable to tear down that mansion. I do not want to be known as the guy in Stephenville that got the mansion torn down. So we plan to deed restrict it and find the right buyer. I've been doing this in Stephenville for about 16 years now, buying old buildings and finding the right tenant or occupant buyer and fixing them and making them viable vacant buildings that have been sitting for years. And this is another one of those. So that's pretty much all I have.
Dale?
Thank you for your consideration.
Dale, I think one of the biggest concerns is the desire to protect that as a part of the city's history, et cetera. Did y'all give any thought to reparceling that and taking that off of the rest of the tract?
We did, and that is a future possibility for sure. The reason why it's left this way is it's currently all on one tract.
Mm-hmm.
So it is absolutely possible that we find 2 buyers, one that wants to restore the mansion and one that wants to develop the back. Well, it's impossible to cut that and replat that exactly the way those 2 buyers are going to want it done ahead of time. The other reason is that I have seen in other mid-sized college university towns where they have taken a magnificent structure like that and duplicated that architecture in multifamily and used that original structure as the office and great room and that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm hoping for at that location, with the university plans to be exactly catty corner in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I've left it R3. It would need to be, the mansion would need to be zoned R3 in order for them to be able to use that as their office and part of the rest of the property.
Makes sense.
Anybody else have a question?
How are you going to determine if I mean, if somebody comes in and buys it, you can't tell them what they can and can't build.
Right.
So how do we know they're not gonna build up some 5-story apartment complex there that, instead of these beautiful townhomes that would mesh well with the Chandler mansion?
Right, that's a great question. I have leased to and sold properties and I vet people. I have had people come and look at the mansion, and the first thing out of my mouth is, hey, finding the right buyer for this property that's going to do it justice is more important than money to me on this deal. It really is. So you just have to trust my history and my judgment, and if you believe that I'm a good steward for the property, as I have been for others, then I appreciate your vote. If not, I understand. So,
Anybody else?
Yeah.
How long has this property been for sale, Dale?
About a year.
And before that, how long has the mansion been vacant, or?
It's been vacant about 5 years now. The previous owners acquired it in '79 as their primary residence.
What was your original intent with the property and the building and the house?
That property, to do just this. The mansion itself could have easily been on an episode of Hoarders. It was this deep in stuff throughout, basement. There was 1,000 dolls in there. So we have cleaned it. We made a blank slate for somebody. When you take a property like that, I've restored 100 houses in Stephenville, but I can't restore that for what somebody else wants. That's a labor of love. So I want to find the right person that wants to restore it the way they want it done. So that's why it's left as a blank slate.
And you don't feel like replatting the property so that you can achieve the townhouses all across the back and across the east side is doable?
I think there's a high probability that it will get replatted. But like I said, I don't know where to draw those lines now for what the buyer for that back property is. Those people will have a lot of money and a lot of experience in developing a property like that. And they'll be very specific about what they want. And I don't want to limit them with the mansion.
You don't want to draw the boundary line on the mansion for them now because they might want
correct
another 500 feet or whatever.
Or the right person may come along first and want the mansion, and they may want more land.
Correct.
So we've had the whole thing for sale for over a year. It hasn't sold. So now this is an attempt to rezone and set it up for 3 pieces for sale. Prior to this, we've said you can buy the whole block or nothing. Now we're going to say, okay, if somebody wants the mansion, you can have it. And how much land would you like to have with it? And we do have, since this council meeting was scheduled, we do have a very interested party, and she's exactly what we want. We don't have to sign under contract, and we all know how that goes. But we do have someone who wants to do exactly what I've described.
Is that conditional on this zoning?
It will be conditional on a zoning.
There's no way, or do you have any idea what the density would be there for in townhomes? How many?
I don't.
How many would fit right there? How many would that?
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly how many units there would be. This particular buyer said she wants to do a minimum. She's going to try to maximize them. Very high quality, for sale, not for rent. So you primary occupants on this one.
Is there any interest to do something similar from an extra lane from any fund that you've spoken to that might curve into the property, kind of like what was done on Washington Street?
Oh, on Fry Street, an extra lane?
Well, yeah, that's right.
A turn lane.
Talk about Wendy's.
So what was right in front of the Edge apartment, something similar to that.
Right. I'm certainly not opposed, but the 2 structures, the O'Neill's home and the mansion, will stay as they are. And I would imagine that a developer would have at least 2, if not 3 entrances on the blocks on the back that don't enter from Fry Street. That would be my guess. But I'm certainly not opposed to some land for an extra lane on Fry. It is a busy street.
And you did pull the O'Neill house out, right, to leave single
Correct.
family?
Yeah, the 1065 O'Neill house is not up for rezone. It will stay up. R1 primary occupant.
Anyone else?
I guess I'm I'm still questioning and concerned about rezoning the entire tract there, with the exception of O'Neill House, as multifamily. Because with that, with a multifamily zone in there, you can go in there and put up anything. Your apartments can be 4 stories tall, 5 stories tall. You can do straight apartments. You can do close down houses. You can do a lot of stuff. And it's just like, trust me, we'll do it. Well,
understand.
sometimes, that's a little difficult to do. So, especially when you're talking about something that is of historical nature in this town. And we have done not the best as a community in preserving buildings that are like that in this community. There's empty places all around us here that did have great looking historic type buildings on them. They're gone now, and they'll never come back.
Yeah.
And that's one of the that's one of them that you're dealing with there. I see that you're kind of between a rock and a hard place too. But I'm having a difficult time thinking about how I would try to overturn what planning and zoning has said on this particular one, and when it looks like there are other options available.
Okay.
And those other options might be to go ahead and split the land and put your multifamily zoning on the back side of the property, and and things like that. So I guess I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it a
I
little bit.
understand, Mr. Cook. Yeah, I have. I've restored some of these old downtown buildings. We just
I know
completed
you
a
have.
3-year restoration of the old Bank of America building on the inside.
Beautiful.
Still have to get to the outside.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
wish they hadn't put the drive-it on the outside.
And to speak to your point, it's not economically viable for anybody to tear that mansion down. It would cost way more to tear it down than the dirt it's sitting on is worth. And when we do sell it, it will be deed restricted in that case. But I do understand your concern. I just haven't been able to find a way around it because what we want to do is the minimum in the R3 zone, and it doesn't fit at the maximum in the R2 zone. So there's not really a middle ground place there for us to land. You're right.
Why did you pull the adjoining property?
We felt like if that structure stayed on Fry Street, and that would alleviate a lot of nerves about what was going to be facing on Fry Street. And there's not that much property there. The O'Neill's home is a very nice home and will make a great primary occupant home there as it is. So, and our potential buyer wants to keep it that way.
Okay. I guess just from a uniformity standpoint, from my opinion, I prefer the whole thing to one or the other, so.
And that's the reason I requested it in the first place.
Anybody else?
I know there's a lot of concern about the house, but with the zoning, there's no protection of this house as is, correct?
Yeah. I
It
could
could be
go
bulldozed
this
tomorrow.
afternoon.
Yeah, it could be, but you'd have to live in the community.
Sure, I can sign that.
Either way, the comments on zoning matter none for the knockdown of this building. There's no protection.
I would say, regardless of how I end up voting, in my opinion, should have nothing to do with whether the mansion stays or not. I don't believe that's our role.
That's not my concern.
Through
I
zoning.
agree.
We can't preserve a building through zoning.
Yeah.
No.
That's
We
just not our
can't.
role. So regardless of how I vote,
I agree
whether
with
the
you.
mansion
Our-
is there
our
or not
job is to-
is irrelevant.
Our job is to look
I agree
at.
with Dale. It's not
One at a
economic to
time.
tear it down, probably.
gonna talk one at a time. Are
We-
you finished, Ricky?
I don't know how deep we need to get before we go into a public hearing, but.
Or we're gonna have a public hearing amendment. Go ahead.
When you look at our zoning maps, if you just look at the zoning map, it looks like a no-brainer. It's surrounded by R3 up north of it, east of it, or north and west of it, and east. It's not, and south. It's completely surrounded by R3 under our current zoning maps. Future plan use doesn't look that way. It's all R1 to the north, and if you look at the actual use of that neighborhood north of Fry, our zoning's wrong. It's, our zoning does not match the current use north of Fry Street. There's some individual fourplexes here and there. There's no large complexes. There's no multi-unit beyond, well, I think there's one that has 12 units in 3 buildings, but that's my struggle right now, is that
There is.
our zoning is wrong as it is. Really, all of that around there probably should be R1, and I would like for us to look at that and see if that's something we can fix, but.
In the city's future zoning map, directly across the street calls for all of that to be multifamily.
Right, to the south.
To the
South
south.
of Fry.
Yep.
Right.
Aaron?
I'm trying to catch up on the map right now and understand kind of historically how that.
You can throw a baseball from the edge of this property on Pecan Street and hit, I think it's 12 to 16 units, metal apartment townhomes that are right across the street from it. Right.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I know I already spoke. With what Ricky said, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but my concern has nothing to do with the mansion. I know that you wouldn't intentionally do anything that would hurt that mansion or tear it down or whatever. You did a great job at cleaning it up. I've been in it since you emptied it and did all that. And my concern is that rezoning it is we're gonna end up with a 4-story apartment complex in the backyard of this beautiful mansion. And that's if that's what they wanna do, then that's what they wanna do. But that's my only concern. If there was a guarantee that it's gonna be these beautiful townhomes that are gonna mesh well with the mansion and go with it and whatever, but there's no guarantees for anybody, not just this. So.
Darren, do you have a question for Steve? Maybe answer some of your questions about the map.
No, the future land use kind of changes it a little bit, but
Okay.
I think my concern as just a homeowner in this town living in a neighborhood similar to this is, I have an empty lot next to me. And so for me personally, that's one of the big concerns. It's a concern with the house that adjoins me in the back. I mean, I always think about, man, I'd hate to see somebody rezone that and build something like this behind me. So that's a hard thing for me, is I live in neighborhoods similar to this.
I would love to do single-family homes there, but with the surrounding neighborhoods in the back, it just doesn't make sense at all.
Were you gonna say something else?
No, I don't have anything else at this point. I'll wait till we consider it.
So council has had any more opportunity to speak. Open. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna enter into a public hearing on case number RZ2021-009. Is there anybody? I have some people who have asked to speak tonight. I'll give their names. Julie Mata. You want to come up and introduce yourself? You'll have,
Probably have someone that is along the lines that might speak first.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind following up.
okay. We also have David Schmidt. You'll come introduce yourself and speak and address, and if you would address, are you in favor or in opposition to the request?
Hi, my name is David Schmidt. I live at 1015 West Fry. I am not in favor of the rezoning. I'm certainly empathetic to the commercial desire of what they're trying to do. My family has been here a while. My home at 1015 West Fry has been in the family for a long time. I tried to buy it when my wife's grandmother died in 1993, got outbid. It's been restored beautifully. Got back here as quick as I can, have other properties in the area, and then ended up buying this home again in its current restored manner. I have intentions on doing other single-family homes in the area for personal use as well, and restore them to their original 1927-ish status. So my concern is really, I would just prefer, and I understand that this is a single-family neighborhood. That's why I paid the pretty penny I paid to get into that neighborhood and to rebuy that property I have and the other properties in the surrounding blocks. And I just would prefer that it either be less multifamily without the intent, the concern of unguaranteed ability to go to an apartment complex. So my concern is mainly the zoning at R3 that would then start to inhibit the single-family environment that I had hoped for and impact the investment that I have in that particular neighborhood personally.
Okay.
So.
Anybody have any questions for David? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Then Kelly Solt. You'll state your name and where your address is. And I forgot to mention this earlier, that everybody's limited to 3 minutes, and sometimes the issues will be put on the television now.
Oh, thank you. My name is Kelly Solt. I live at 882 North Clinton. As I told the Planning and Zoning Commission, you all know my house as the Bob Scott House, the big pink Victorian on the corner. So that just gets you an idea. I'm very close to that, about half a block away, and I'm here to speak in opposition of the rezoning of R3. Pretty much going to mimic what David said and what Wayne will say in a moment. We just don't have any guarantees that something monstrous is not going to be built there on that corner. And it's obviously a family neighborhood. We talked last time about the increase in traffic and how bad that corner is already with the terrible school traffic that wraps around the corner down Clinton. You want to come to my house any day at 3 o'clock and you will see traffic wrapped all the way from Clinton, all the way around Fry, almost down. But anyway, yeah, I would love to see what Dell's proposing. I would love to see, I think I'd love to see the city buy the Chandler property and turn it into some kind of event center and protect it. But we'll see about that. But yeah, we would love to see the legacy kept intact, but we really don't want to see something hugely multi-family in that neighborhood. It's going to drive our property values down, and that wouldn't be good for us. So, thank you.
Bill, you might want to call Kelly and invite her over to see the mansion, what you've done to it. Anybody have any questions for Kelly?
You'd like to see that about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am, you ready? Come on. Julie Mata. Again, name, address, are you in favor or opposition?
Sure, I'm Julie Foster Mata. List my maiden name because I know a lot of you got to play with Randy Thomas's fantastic daughter.
She's my girl.
Basketball.
She was good. Very good.
So I only say this to give a little history, in my opinion, in opposition to rezoning. I've grown up in Stephenville Honeybee, Chamberlain Elementary School, Hook Elementary, going all the way up, through high school. Got all 3 of my degrees from Tarleton State University. This is my hometown. I think that's a huge portion of our hometown that it would just be such a shame to give up on. And when I say give up on, I guess I live at 887 Clinton. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that, which is on the corner of Fry and Clinton. I grew up on Paddock Street. My dad is a painter and contractor. Calls himself semi-retired, definitely is not. He's beautified Stephenville for a very long time. I remember when most of the roads were red brick roads in the heart of our city. I would absolutely be against this from the standpoint, I think, when we talk about that we couldn't rezone it in a manner or we couldn't piece it up in a manner because no one wants to build homes. When you see the homes on the back side of it, is basically giving up on an older part of Stephenville and saying that nobody is vested in making those homes beautiful too. So from my standpoint, I look at tradition. I certainly do. I know we make concessions, and I know business is important and growth is important. I certainly do understand that. I just think this is an area, I know the same mindset that David and Kelly are, and that, our home, I do believe, Hosea, my home, will lose value if something happens that we get this big structure. Who wants to live around that? You know, not many people of the people who are there now and who paid the money to get there now and have an old home that we've worked hard to restore. So I love that mansion, and I understand we can't control what goes along with that, but that block is an important block to Stephenville and right in the heart of Stephenville. It'd be a real shame to give up on the surrounding area of it. So thank you very much.
Any questions for Julie? You ask her about stealing base or how to bunt down third or any of that stuff. Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else want to speak in opposition or in favor of the case? Yes, ma'am. Just state your name, your address, and you're in favor or in opposition.
My name is Hannah Dowell, and I live at 1092 West Fry. We live in the house on the corner facing the mansion. And with the white Austin stone, we bought that house about 5 years ago. And we've had our 2 kids living there with us ever since. And we've been working hard, spending a lot of money restoring our home. We put money into our home every month, just poured a new sidewalk. We have just poured a whole new back porch. My kids cannot currently go and check the mail at my house because we live on a main corner. We knew that when we purchased the home that it was a main street. That's not a problem. But to put an R3 directly across from our home would cause more traffic, a more dangerous area. I check my mail and people try to run over me daily. I try to back out of my driveway and people try to run over me daily. And I try to pull in my driveway and people will cut me off. And it is only going to get worse if we put something large. And though nobody can guarantee not tearing that building down tomorrow, we can keep from someone tearing that building down and not building another single family home or duplex or something like that, another home. We can keep somebody from building a huge apartment complex, which is very important to our neighborhood. We do live in a neighborhood. You said you live in one similar, and you wouldn't want that right down the street from you or right across the street from you. And it's not the looks of it. I'm sure they're going to be beautiful. I've seen what he does. The house on the back side of mine, he redid, and we always talk about, wow, he does such a great job. We love what he does. That's not our concern. Our concern is that we have faith in him. I don't have faith in the new buyer. We don't know the new buyer. We don't know what they're going to do. They could do anything with that property if it's an R3. And though I do trust Toby and I do trust him, I do not trust someone that I don't know to take over that property and not do something crazy with it and bring the value of my home down, more congestion, all of those items. You know, and if they have a good enough lawyer, even if you put a deed restriction on it, they can get around it. So I don't think that that is necessarily the answer to everything. And in my personal opinion, you could take that lot and split it up because the right buyer is going to be the right buyer, whether it's with or without the division of the property, if he's willing to do it. So that's my opinion.
Anybody have any questions?
And I'm opposed to it, if y'all didn't get that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Hearing no other questions, anybody else want to speak? We'll close the public hearing then. Oh, we have one more. Okay. Got to stand up and yell. I mean, I'm kind of deaf and can't hear either.
Kelly said I was going to speak, so.
I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Wayne Trimble at 1010 West Fry Street. Good friends with Dell, and so it's hard to oppose him, and I don't want to oppose him personally. I just oppose the R3 because I feel like it does open Pandora's box. For any future buyer, you know, anybody buys it from Dell, they get low on funds, they need to flip it, then, you know, all bets are off. It's the only way we can truly protect the Chandler Mansion, I feel like, is by keeping it the neighborhood R1. We put a lot of money into our house since we bought it 2 years ago. And so we actually have talked about trying to petition to rezone our side of Fry to R1, but that's another battle. So anyway, thank you for your time. I'm opposed to the rezone. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing or hearing no one, will close the public hearing. Let me just have a question. Brandon, do you understand the zoning issue, the two, that is R2, R3? Question that Dale brought up about it doesn't fit the townhomes?
Yes, because R2 is just a duplex. You can't have 4 units. So it's something that we've got to look at.
So if you fix that and created a different zoning and said you, the council, but your committees came up with a recommendation how to fix that issue, then it could be restricted then to townhomes or something of that nature. Which is what his intent was, is that right?
I'm looking at Alan.
That'd be helpful.
I'm assuming that we could do that.
Yes, sir.
Steve? We could do that. So we have an option if,
Yes, sir. The city council has the ability to change a zoning designation.
well, would you, like 2.5 or?
You could call it
Whatever.
R74. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you call it.
Well, everybody around here calls 1, 2, and 3. They know what that
Right,
means. So I
right.
would assume it's something like
You could
we
do
have a 1.5.
2.5, 'cause
We have a
we've got
1.5 now.
1.5.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that with our comprehensive plan that we're going to look at. We've got to look at lot size. We've got to look at a lot of things. We're a changing community.
Absolutely.
We're not a half acre, quarter acre, 1,800 square foot house. Townhomes, a lot of people like them. A lot of people like garden homes. And our zoning is very restrictive of that right now without going and getting a ton of variances.
Or PD.
Or a PD, which is very expensive unless it's something that you've
So
done before.
it leaves you with the option of you can't build it at all, or we have to zone it to a point where you can build it as big as you want.
It leaves you with this city block that's undeveloped in the middle of your city.
Just for information, about, what, 6 weeks ago, Alan, I guess, Brandon, we went to North Richland Hills and visited with a developer and brought us all kinds of ideas about how to do things differently than our current zoning and building system in Stevensville, Texas. And I think that the future of Stevensville is going to look like that rather than the way we look today. At the same time, there's a reality, and that is Charlton's going to grow. What did we hear? 900 or 1,000 or 1,200 students don't have a room in September. 1,600 don't have a room in September. It's been my information that within 5 years, Charlton will grow to here 3,000 new students. Charlton last year during the height of the pandemic was the only college in the A&M system that grew. So, and Charlton is a huge impact financially to our city of Stevensville. So we're not going to stop that. And what's happened to a lot of these neighborhoods, not these individuals who live on Fry Street down the street, but that's happening all over town, is individuals are taking their homes and making them rent houses. And so owner occupied is big, and we saw that between Fry and Washington, on Harbin, between Fry and Washington on Harbin. That's happening all over Stevensville, Texas. And so what's going to look like Stevensville today isn't going to look like Stevensville in 15 years from now. It's just not. The economics and the numbers of people and who's going to live here, et cetera, is going to change. And just the dynamics of who's buying and building houses. What I bought and what Brady bought, Brady did a great job restoring his house, but that's not the future. The future is a different kind of house. Went and toured a facility, or a subdivision, I guess you call it. He called it communities. And it had 650 homes in it. And it was amazing. And there were multifamily in the middle of single family. And you couldn't tell the difference. Because it's a planned developed, planned community. But we're going to have to look at stuff like that. And this brings the council into a very difficult time with a developer who's done a great job. The bank building, I got to tour it when you were still early in the process. It's amazing what that old building looked like. You've done a great job with that. And the citizens who say, not next to my house. And that's the struggle we're going to have. So I just want to make sure that you're willing to take that issue on, depending on whether or not we do this tonight.
Right.
We need to take that on in your committee,
Absolutely.
if you would.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? Then I will consider approval of an ordinance rezoning the property located at 1083 Fry Street, being parcel number R32-260, Block 5, Lot 1 of the Knights, 2nd edition.
Mayor, I'll move to approve the rezoning request from R1 to R3.
Brady makes the motion to approve.
Second.
Brandon seconds it. Further discussion.
Just a couple things. I don't want to think that you guys, I'm ignoring y'all. Appreciate you coming here, and I'm not ignoring you. Because I don't want apartments there, and I might be the hated person in this whole thing. Because if apartments go there, I'll be sick with myself. But the reason why I'm in support of it is the same way if you came 6 months ago, we had a similar conversation over on Tarleton Street behind Big Lots with that development. And I was the only one, I think, in favor of rezoning that one, which in my opinion, the only two parcels left in town that were undeveloped were that parcel of any size, or that one, and then this one here. Other than that, really nothing left as far as infill development. This is kind of it. And those properties have been vacant forever. There's never been development there. And so I hope that I'm making the right decision today by trusting that townhomes are going to go there, not multi-family as far as being apartments in a 4 or 5 story apartment complex, because I'll be sick. I truly think that at the end of the day, the townhomes concept there will work, will look beautiful. You look at other developers in this town, what they've done with the townhomes. I know we've got more going, hopefully on some other parcels, and I think that's what that needs. I don't think single-family development works well there. And like I said, I get it, because if somebody built next to my open lot and put a 5-story apartment there, I mean, it would be miserable. But it could happen, and that's just part of living in the city. And I know you put faith and trust in people, and that's my opinion as to why I'm in favor of rezoning that, because I want to see it developed. I want to see something happen there. It's just a big parcel of land that I want to see. It's crucial to the growth of our community. It really is. And so if it becomes townhomes, we made the right decision. If heaven forbid it doesn't, then clearly I made the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Anybody else?
And I'll second, the reason I'm seconding is that, you know, the mayor touched on it. We have changing neighborhoods in this community. This is not going to be the last that sits in front of this council, and hard decisions have to be made as communities change. To the point of not investing in these communities, we have a program in place where we offer money back to people to redevelop and restore all these homes in these communities. So we are absolutely invested in trying to help these communities grow. And we've seen a lot of that. If you go to McCart or different places like that, you've seen older homes redone. Sometimes they can't be redone. They're knocked down and something new and that fits in its place is built there. So we are seeing some success there. With this one, you know, I work in the real estate community. With this property, it's going to sit vacant, and it is going to end up with townhomes or something on it at some point in time. There's no way that you can make a lot inside the city limits with the way money is right now work on single-family homes. So it's going to sit there vacant like it has before. And you guys know I'm a big, strong town. It's a great book. Read it. Infill is the most important thing you can do in a city. Everybody thinks building new subdivisions and everything are the way to go. Well, you're building new roads, you're running new water, sewer lines. We don't have to do any of that over there. Maybe we need to make some modifications for traffic and some deceleration lanes, something over there. But that's part of growth, and that's part of what we are supposed to be stewards of helping that happen. I think townhomes make a ton of sense. I trust in the people that own this property and where they're going to go with it. You know, and I think back. I mean, it's true. Tarleton is looking for land. Tarleton could buy this tomorrow, and you know how much control we have over what Tarleton does? 0. And then you have not well-built 3-story, 4-story dorms going up everywhere. And I'm just talking realities. I'm not doing scares. I'm just talking realities of the situation. So I think a mixed-use community is not a bad thing. And there is stuff, literally, you can throw a baseball and hit some townhomes that are on the other side that, quite frankly, don't have real great curb appeal, but they're there. And so the whole area is changing into that. So I think that having smart development is where we're going, and that's why I'm in favor of this.
Anybody else?
Just say I struggle with this compared to the last big project. Brady mentioned it. One difference we had between the two was ultimately it was the developer who came to us with their plans, and we knew what exactly was going to happen. And that wasn't an easy process either. It got denied several times, and I voted for it several times before it finally passed. But we knew that the person who was doing the developing was the one coming and giving us their plan on what was going to happen. And this is such a large tract that it has potential to be a very substantial change to a very substantial area. It's not like building a single fourplex on taking a double lot and replatting it and building a fourplex there. It's just, it has the potential to be so much bigger than that with our current zoning. And I wish we had a zoning solution that would fit what you're looking for in the buyer, that was a little bit more restrictive than the R3. But I agree with Brandon, infill is the way to go, but at the same time, we don't infill just to infill. So we do have to be smart about it, and I think this just leaves it too wide open with our current zoning on such a large tract.
I think the townhome concept's a great idea, and I think that helps put it in perspective. I think that if the committee can come back with something like that, that would be fantastic, and maybe something that we can look at to help mitigate the time in which it does sit vacant, but also sits and fits good from a community standpoint, from its neighbor standpoint, but also I think the possibility of acceleration lanes. I think that is such a crucial thing for Fry Street. It is so tight right now. If the city can begin that process of opening up Fry and the traffic that runs that direction, I think that provides some opportunity as well, if it makes sense economically for them, but also for the safety of the people driving in that area. So.
I agree with, I'm sorry. I just agree with Ricky. There's too many unknowns that, it makes me nervous to say, yes, let's do this, and then we don't. 6 months from now, we've got a 2 or 3 story apartment complex there, and that's not, if there was something in place that we knew for sure what was going to go on there, then I might feel better about it.
I think our question before us is whether we overrule the Planning and Zoning Commission that I think they voted all but one against this proposal, whether we overrule that or not. That's our total deal. But the thing behind that in our thinking that has been expressed here, I think, is the unknown. And that is, yes, when we did the one on West Tarleton Street that Ricky referred to a while ago, we knew what we were getting. We had the plans sitting in front of us. We had looked at those. We had considered those, ingress, egress, sidewalks, everything like that in front of us. Here, we're being asked to do a blanket rezone, taking it from R1 to multifamily R3. No plans. Perhaps a buyer who may do this, who may put up townhouses, or somebody else that may put up apartment complex, who may or may not keep the house. These are all things that follow in to the thinking and the decision that we've got to make. And to me, that's just a lot of unanswered questions that I need in order to support this. So,
anyone else? Hearing none, then we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
no.
Let's go to a roll call vote. I think it's no's where we'll go roll call vote. But place 1?
No.
Place 2?
No.
Place 3?
No.
Place 4?
Aye.
Place 5?
No.
Place 6?
No.
Place 7?
No.
Place 8?
Yes.
Motion fails. At the same time, Brandon, you'll take on that responsibility to get that zoning issue addressed. Please, in your committee, you've done a great job with that, and I'm sure you'll do this, but I just want to say it in public. Be sure that you get Dale and all of his partners involved in that process. They'll understand.
If it comes back, I'd sure like to see it be one contiguous rezone, not having it broke up like it is tonight. So.
Okay. Did you hear that, Brandon?
What's that?
If it comes back, I'd like to see it as one contiguous rezone, not being broke up like it was tonight. We're gonna do all this.
And that's what we're going to continue to fight, because people aren't going to want to do the whole block. But we'll bring it back and get it to the committee, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Well, Brandon, I can tell you that you've taken on some pretty tough issues in your committee, and I appreciate
We'll
your
get it
leadership.
figured
We'll get it figured out. Next item, public hearing, case number RZ 2021-011.
Yes, sir. Applicant Stacy Morrison, representing the Erath County Habitat for Humanity, is requesting a rezone of property located at 750 Sloan, parcel R32729, the Park Place Edition, Block 4, Lot 4 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from R3 to B2, retail and commercial business. The intended project is for the construction of an office space with connecting warehouse storage for their operation and administrative offices. They have the property at 754 Sloan, and they would like to, with this rezone, come back with a replat, combine those two parcels, and allow for the construction of their office. The current zoning is R3. Future land use is also multifamily R3. The property at 750 Sloan is has the dimensions of 25 feet in width by 125 feet in depth. So even with this lot dimension at a R3 zoning, it would not be able to allow for the construction of any type of R3 structure other than a townhome, and even that would require a variance before the Board of Adjustment. So Planning and Zoning Commission convened on June 16, 2021, and by unanimous vote recommended the City Council approve the rezoning request. And Ms. Stacy Morrison is here tonight if you have any questions for that.
Questions for Steve? Hearing none, we'll enter into a public hearing. Case number RZ 2021-001. Do I hear anybody want to speak in favor of the applicant? You want to speak in Okay.
I can,
Go
if
ahead.
you want me to. As he said, it's only 25
State-
feet wide.
state your name, your address, and-
Stacy Morrison. My address is 19684 North US Highway 377, Stephenville, Texas. This property is 750 and 754 Sloan. 750 is 25 feet wide. It's R3. The property right next to it, 754, we also own, and it is already zoned B2. So we are just wanting to combine those and create finally a home for Habitat.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else want to speak in favor of the applicant? Oh, I thought you were getting up to speak. Anybody going to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and consider approval of an ordinance rezoning the property located at 750 West Sloan. Do I hear a motion?
Mayor, so move.
Justin makes a motion. There a
Second.
second? Ricky seconds it. Need a discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Steve. Once again, you took up about 3/4 for council. That's all right, though. Well, Alan will put that in your evaluation.
I am taking notes, sir.
You taking? There you go. All right.
Hey, if we'll get our zoning fixed. then-
Well, it'd be a whole lot faster if we just fix our zone. Okay, there you go. Gotcha. All right, we're going to back up and are you ready, Justin, for your committee? All right, we'll go back to item number 3, committee report on finance committee.
Well, I think, did we cover the first part of it? The Mike Brooks CPA presented
Yes,
the
we did.
fiscal year, the finance committee and the auditor's report, and that was approved unanimously, I assume.
Yes.
And then staff.
Well, we didn't get your vote, though.
Aye. Yes. Staff presented the first draft of revenues for the fiscal year 2021-22. Sales tax, property tax, and other revenue were discussed. No action was taken. Monica, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? That concludes the committee.
Thank you, sir. Let's get back down to Development Services Committee. Mr. Huckabee.
All right, the Development Services Committee met on June 18th to consider a waiver requested from Ms. Stacy Morrison on behalf of Habitat for Humanity for some estimated cost for the new building that they're building. The committee had a lot of discussion about it based on the fee schedule. The total amount they were asking for, if it was given in total, was $3,389.59. The committee voted unanimously to recommend to council to deny the waiver request. Ms. Stacy was not, Ms. Morrison was not here that day, so I'd love to give you an opportunity if you'd like to speak, or if any of the council has questions for her, so.
Okay. Again, Stacy Morrison, 19684 North US Highway 377, Stephenville, Texas, which actually ties in with what I was going to say. I live in the country, so infrastructure costs come out of our pocket. Sometimes when my husband is talking about water wells or generators or resealing the driveway, I get caught up in the immediate cost. He tells me, you're thinking on the wrong side of the decimal point. You're thinking dimes when the investment will pay off in dollars. I realize that as a tax-exempt entity, Erath County Habitat for Humanity's request may look like a city investment that has no economic value for the city. But I propose that we might be thinking on the wrong side of the decimal point. We have cobbled together a mission that has constructed over $1.5 million in this county, most of them in Stephenville city limits. Our families pay close to $40,000 in property taxes a year. Yes, the city will not recoup directly any of the fees you waive for our office space warehouse, but you will recoup property taxes from us creating a solid foundation and a permanent home from which to empower families through shelter. And those families will pay taxes. Those families will take personal financial literacy classes in our building and learn what it means to build equity in their own homes. On a balance sheet, profit and recouping costs cannot be measured because Habitat for Humanity changes lives and empowers our families to break the cycles of poverty. Our budget is small. We have to choose every day between building costs for a warehouse and building costs on the next home. Our board and our staff chooses to work for free, pro bono, hours every month, so we can budget a home for Habitat. I understand and I appreciate the partnership that the city and our organization, as builders of affordable homes with no profit margin or incentives other than putting God's love into action, have. Terry Adams, Steve Killen, the permits department, city administrators, and city council. I truly feel that you all are part of our team and that permits and fees help pay many of those salaries. Still, I'm asking that you reconsider teaming up with us just on the building permit. That's $1,062. The truth is, we are building more than a storage/office space for Habitat. We are building a home, a permanent investment in this community so that we can continue to partner with you to build a healthier, stronger community for a sector of the population that many times has not had a chance at homeownership. Your investment in us will pay us all back exponentially. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for consistently meeting us at the table to work together to build a stronger, healthier, and even better community.
Any questions for Stacy?
Okay.
Comments? Thank you, ma'am.
With that and no questions, I would guess ask for a motion.
Yes, do we have a motion?
I'm sorry, I'm confused. So we've denied the 3,000. So now she's asking for the 1,000. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Just making sure.
Do I hear a motion?
I made the motion in committee, so I'll make it here. I'll make a motion to deny the request for permits.
Ricky makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Brady makes a second.
Are you denying the full request or just?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so to kind of explain my my thinking on this, and what I talked about in the committee was, you know, we just gave the additional money for the landfill, which was great. The way that fund operates is very different than this fund. It operates much more like a business. It's not tax supported. It has to carry its own weight, and the landfill is doing very well financially. They have the room. In looking at the fees, if Habitat doesn't cover those, the taxpayers are covering them. I mean, it's the time and everything else that the staff has to put into doing these. If it's not covered by the builder, whoever the builder is, not just, then it's got to be covered by tax dollars. And so that's my reason behind it.
Anybody else? We have a motion and a second. Let's proceed to vote. All in favor say I deny the request. That's what?
That's correct.
Okay. As recommended by the committee, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. The request is denied. Just curiosity, how many houses have we helped with over the last?
It's spotty at times. We have partnered with 22 families. Some, I think 3 maybe were in Dublin. I know that historically, we come before city council and sometimes get the building permit. And truthfully, the reason why I really stress the building permit today is because on that list, that $3,000 and something, there's a sewer and water tap. Those are already there at the property. We don't even need those covered. And so the building permit was just one of the things that I thought, and that's why I stressed the idea of partnering on something. I very much understand the business, like I said, of infrastructure and what it costs and the hard costs to that. And so that's the reason why partnering instead of just having you guys covered.
Well, I think that we have helped quite a bit in the past, and we'll continue to do that. So I encourage you to keep coming back to us on this particular request. It was obvious with the vote that there are some issues with this particular request. So I hope you come back in the future. I'm sure you will. I take that as a yes. Mr. Huckabee, anything else?
And that concludes the Development Services Committee.
Next item is Brick Street Task Force. I appointed a committee. Mr. Cook graciously agreed to chair. We had 2 other council members still on the committee and had a citizens from the city. And so I'm going to let Mr. Cook make a report on what the committee brought to him.
Thank you, Mayor. The task force on the brick streets has been meeting since March. We have probably had a total of 6 or 8 meetings so far during that period of time, reviewed a lot of information on how to protect brick streets, as well as learning a lot more probably about what's under the brick streets than some of us really cared to know.
Or the fact that we have 2 million of them sitting out there.
Yeah, the fact that we've got millions of bricks that came off of it and are coming off right now off of Graham Street and whatnot. The people that served on the task force with me were Ricky Thurman and Leanne Durfee, and prior to Leanne, Mark McClinton served on the task force. Wendell Hollingsworth served on the task force, and Scott Allen served on the task force. And we were very ably assisted by staff. Nick Williams did a masterful job for us, and in his midnight hour, burning the candle at both ends, I might add. And Jason also set in and helped us, and Alan, to wade through it, because part of it was getting the knowledge base first about the streets, and then going through 7 different iterations of an ordinance, possibly that we would like to propose that would help protect and and designate and repair some of the streets that had been patched over the years in Stephenville. The ordinance is before you. Just to give you an overall look at that. Section 1 designates a Brick Street district and a policy for its preservation and protection by the city of Stephenville. A key part of that is called Exhibit A. Exhibit A is also in your packets and has to do with a map. And the map was prepared by staff and by Nick and with the input from the street department with regard to where the brick streets are actually located. You may not be aware that some of the brick streets are covered in this. Tarleton Street is one of those examples. And Tarleton, I like to say, it wasn't always Tarleton Street. It used to be Bosque Avenue, as a matter of fact, or Bosque Boulevard at one time. But it was one of the original streets too, as well as these downtown. There are some streets that the brick has been removed, Washington Street being one of those. Graham Street right now is being removed as far as the bricks under Graham Street, and that's because of the rebuilding of those particular streets and the fact that there are state highways. And so the council has already approved keeping the east side of Graham Street, east side of the courthouse next to Graham Street, and have allocated the dollars for that. The Exhibit A in the packets is a part of this particular designation of Brick Street District. And it's incorporated into it and is a key part of it because it delineates those brick streets. And basically it says that it shall be the policy of the city of Stephenville to preserve and protect and restore the existing historic brick streets and streets designated as future brick streets located in the Brick Street District. So this establishes the Brick Street District and says what we will do to preserve, protect, and restore those. It also addresses those that are unidentified but that could be found, and they may be found, under some of the existing pavement as we go along. Those brick streets would that are identified in the future would come before the city council. And the council would be notified and asked to discuss the possible amendment to the Brick Street District when additional brick streets are found other than those already designated. The brick streets should be repaired, restored, exclusively under the purview of the city of Stephenville employees, contractors, or personnel directly hired or under the direct supervision of the city of Stephenville. That is what is happening now when someone has to take it out to put a new pipe in to make a connection. Well, Nick and his Director of Public Works and the staff that work in that particular area are the ones who put the foundation back under the bricks that have to be taken out and then put the bricks back in, so forth. Part of that has to do with another portion of this, which will come before you too, and that is the engineering standards manual, because this is kind of a three-part thing. One is the map, one is the ordinance, and one is the engineering standards manual. Because we have found out, obviously, if you don't have standards, you can't just throw brick out there and make it work. You have to have the base that goes under it. And so that requires us to put it in our engineering standards manual, too. Over the years, there's been a lot of patching done on brick streets. Now, if you go up, Belknap is a wonderful example of that, unfortunately. Yes, you can go down through there at 5 miles an hour and try to keep the car on the road. But it's because of all the patching that's taken place over the years. And a lot of that patching Some of it we did as a city. Some of it it was done by others, by contractors and whatnot. But it tends to be one, let's take the brick out, let's connect to the pipe or whatever, or fix the broken line, and fill it up with dirt, and let's throw some asphalt over it. And you get this. And that's what's the matter with Belknap Street. You get deterioration and water gets under it. And folks, it doesn't have concrete under the bricks, surprisingly. It has clay. All the brick streets have clay under them, and then they have a layer of asphalt, and then the bricks are laid on top of that asphalt. And now they have been good for how long? Over 100 years. Go back to 1908. You know, that's when it all happened. And so they've been good for a long, long time, and they will last for a long time, particularly if they're done right and they're repaired correctly. And that's what all of this is about. Part of the ordinance request a capital improvement plan that shall be presented each fiscal year to this city council, identifying projects to improve brick streets, and also to make an annual report by staff specific to the improvements to the brick streets the previous year. And that's to be made to city council at the end of each fiscal year. And it'll be the policy of the city of Stephenville to address all pavement patches in the Brick Street districts as quickly as possible, realizing it takes time, you've got to work it into the budget and so forth, and realize this is a starting point, guys. It's a starting point to protect the historic brick streets. There is a requirement in Section 4 for notice of damage to repairs. That is a thing that you've got to have in there in case and that requires notice to the Director of Public Works unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, then you have to define the situation, and it has to be a public health, safety, or property issue. There are prohibited activities included in this in Section 5, which is the covering of the brick streets with asphalt in the Brick Street district, and or to remove or permanently damage brick streets by any individual business or others. Damage to existing brick streets, they will be repaired according to the manual that we've talked about and the standards that are written there. And I might add, this is one of the things we really imposed on Nick and the city staff about. They pulled in manuals and engineering standards from City of Fort Worth, from other places that have a lot of brick streets, and how that they are protecting those and how they are repairing those. And incorporated that and written our own, frankly, based on those. This just says it's a priority of ordinance here under Section 7, and it takes priority over terms of any conflicting or ambiguous ordinances or manuals adopted here. We rely a lot on the Public Works Director or his designee, his or her designee, to enforce the terms of the ordinance. There's a penalty for non-compliance of $200 per day per violation. If somebody goes in and messes up the street and they don't want to put it back and they don't want to pay for it and so forth, well, they can be fined. And it makes the effective date 10 days following the passage. That's the ordinance. Also in your packet, as I said, you have the map, and also in your packet you have the Brick Street standards that would be for the pavement design, for the repair, and those are different depending on whether it's a thoroughfare or whether it's a residential street, whether it's just downtown and so forth. They change based on the type of load that's required from trucks and so forth on those streets in order to keep them strong and steady. And we want to thank, again, Nick for that. frankly, having to go through this, we've read through all of them. He's done a masterful job in putting that together for us. So with that, Mayor, I would, from the task force, I would move that we approve this ordinance and the Exhibit A of that ordinance, by the way. And shall we also include the engineering standards amendments at the same time, or does those have to be separate?
I don't know, what would you think? Do we need to do them separately?
They're all separate?
They have to be separate.
Okay, well, then I would move that the Brick Street ordinance that you have before you, and I don't know what number that would be, but that we move that it be approved by the
Okay, we
council.
have a motion, do I hear a second?
I second it.
And second it?
Need to, I guess, do a motion to amend here. So this came up really late, Gerald, so I didn't have a chance to talk to you about it before, and it's just a technical thing. Under the section of covering brick streets, we've left out what might happen if some of the streets that are currently covered by asphalt, if they had to cut those. The way it reads now, they would have to put it back as brick. So then we're gonna have a brick patch and an asphalt street.
Yeah, we would.
So.
It's a good point.
So my motion to amend would be to add section A, which is repairs necessitated to brick street districts that are overlaid with asphalt may be repaired with asphalt until such time the street is reconstructed with brick. And then B, repairs necessitated to brick street districts that are not currently brick streets but are intended to be extensions of brick street district shall be repaired with asphalt until such time as the street is reconstructed with brick.
And that works.
So.
I have a question in parliamentary procedure. Randy, can they just take that as a friendly amendment and it would accepted by the author and not have to actually have a vote on the amendment?
I didn't hear all of what he said, but this can be amended if that's the
No, I'm
question.
asking if they could do it without having a motion and amendment and approve the amendment, go back and he just does a friendly amendment and Gerald, he cannot do that.
Unless you want to change your motion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
We can change the motion, and I would be glad to change the motion to include that amendment in it.
Okay, Leanne, you
Yes.
approve
I'll
that still?
second
Okay,
that.
so I have a motion and a second.
Okay, Mayor, I have a question that I would like to ask. Number one, I want to thank Mr. Cook and the committee for hours and hours and hours of work on this, because I know that they have done tirelessly, been laboring on this. It would be my request, if it was agreeable with Mr. Cook, that we take this item and refer it back to Public Works Committee, that committee might have an opportunity to look at it, because it's going to be a tremendous impact on the Public Works budget and the Public Works Director, as well as the Public Works Committee in the future, with all of the requirements that are in this ordinance. My suspicion is that these two amendments that have been added will probably correct any deficiencies. That will give us an extra period of time to look at the ordinance and have the opportunity to go through it again with Mr. Williams and with anyone else that's interested, to be able to discuss it and discuss the impact of it and discuss the future plans that we may want to make coming forth from the committee as well as from the Public Works Department. And I would make the motion that we refer that back to the Public Works Committee.
Okay, point of question again, Randy, the motion is not to refer to a committee or not a committee, is to approve the ordinance. So can an amendment be to redirect that, or is it to table it? Would that be the question?
Table would be
The appropriate way would be to table it. So you're making a motion to table it.
Table.
Okay, we have a motion, and within, do I hear a second for that motion?
For the purpose of discussion, I'll second it.
Okay, so Alan makes a motion to table,
Right.
and
There's no discussion.
there's no discussion.
Oh, there is no
There's no
discussion.
discussion.
Requires 2/3 vote.
All right, so we have a.
No, majority vote.
Majority vote on this one.
Yes.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion to table, say aye. If it's 2/3 vote, it requires a roll count.
No, majority vote.
Oh, just
Yes,
majority vote.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
A motion fails to table. Bring back to Gerald's motion is to approve the Consider approval of an ordinance related to the preservation and renovation of historic brick streets. We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Okay, Gerald, do you have one more item?
The next item has to do with the, it's listed as EMS on your deal. Consider approval of amendments to the Engineering Standards Manual. Okay? And this has to do with brick pavement design. And it gives a full summary of that, procedures, what the expectations are. It goes on to the back, by the way, this is rather lengthy, and gives you brick street repair streets with concrete base, with flexible base, and so forth, and what those standards are. It fits very well. We asked Nick to do this, and frankly, let me tell you why we asked Nick to do this. Because I can't think of anybody else, frankly, that is so meticulous.
There's another word we
Believe
use for
me,
it.
meticulous.
There's
We've
a
gone
DSM-4
through
diagnosis for that, Nick.
in doing this. We wanted it done correctly and wanted it done straight. The easy thing would have been to do is to go grab another cities and just adopt it. It's the harder thing to do is to grab another cities, take a look at that, grab another cities, take a look at that, and have Nick put it together the way it ought to be. And realizing that we want something that's going to last for another 100 years or longer. And that's what we have with this. And it was his suggestion that this, and the staff's suggestion that this be put in the Engineering Standards Manual. And there is nothing in the Engineering Standards Manual at the present time with regard to brick streets. So this basically is a new section in the Engineering Standards Manual. And Nick, is there anything that you want to mention about it? So with that, I would move that we adopt the brick pavement design in front of you, and that it be included in the Engineering Standards Manual for the City of Stephenville.
Have a motion by Gerald. Do I hear a second? Ricky makes a second. Any discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. Anything else, Mr. Cook?
Thank you. Truthfully, I think this is, it may be a small step. We have to start somewhere with regard to this. This has to do with historic preservation of brick streets that this community is known for somewhat. And so we've talked about it a lot, and this is a start for doing that, frankly.
Mr. Cook,
And-
you're up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
So
interrupt.
that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Cook, you're back up for Nominations Committee report.
Oh, y'all are getting tired of me, I bet. The Nominations Committee met on June the 15th. We would like to propose to the council some appointments. We met to discuss several different ones for the Main Street Advisory Board, and the Senior Citizens Advisory Board, Planning and Zoning Commission, and Electrical Board. The first, and if it's okay, I will take them all at the same time.
That'd be fine with me.
We would like to recommend appointing Kelly Salt to the Main Street Advisory Board. That she was approved by unanimous vote of the committee. We would like to recommend appointing Donna Wesson to the Senior Citizens Advisory Board. We'd like to appoint Tom Hines as alternate number 1 on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And we recommend appointing Jared Hancock to the Electrical Board. All of these passed committee by the unanimous vote, and we recommend them to the council and would make that in the form of a motion.
Share a motion is second. Alan seconds that. Further discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you. That ends my report.
You had a
Thank you,
big
Mayor.
responsibility this week. Thank you very much, sir. Personnel Committee, Mr. Thurman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Personnel Committee met June 15th, 2021. Staff presented cost of living and ad hoc cost of living for retirees, changes to the TMRS plan that were discussed. Staff had requested a change of plan calculation from TMRS, but they were not available yet at the time of that meeting. That information will be provided as soon as it is received from TMRS. Staff also presented CPI indexes for potential inclusion in the fiscal year 21-22 pay plan. A blended rate of 2.81% was calculated using year-to-date CPI rates published by the U.S. Department of Labor Statistics as of March. Blended rate included the published metropolitan CPI for the DFW area and the urban and clerical rate for the same area. Staff was encouraged to evaluate how the annual non-metropolitan rates for Texas have historically compared to the urban rates when they bring the final recommendation for the next fiscal year. No action was taken. It was just discussion, and that is the end of my report.
As always, thank you, Mr. Thurman. Monica, financial report, monthly budget report.
Mayor, Council, we reviewed the financial statements ending May 31st, 2021, and the financial indicators are better than I had anticipated. For our property taxes, we received $95,000 in property taxes in May, resulting in $216,000 or a 3.42% increase over the funds collected last May. The $6.57 million that we've collected fiscal year to date is 98.83% of budget, which is slightly more than the 98.76% anticipated. For our sales tax, we received $707,000 in sales tax in May, resulting in $771,000 or 18.06% more than the funds collected through last May. The $5 million that we've collected fiscal year to date is 80.79% of the $6.24 million budgeted, which is higher than the 65.85% that I would anticipate. For our target budget for operating revenue is $20.7 million. We received $21.2 million in revenue fiscal year to date, which is $588,000 over our target budget, and that's due to our sales taxes and our service charges. The target budget for our operating expenditures is $13.8 million. We expended $13.3 million fiscal year to date, which is $476,000 under our target budget. Our operating revenue received last year was $20.4 million. The current year is $21.2 million, which is $850,000 increase due to property taxes, sales taxes, and our service charges. Our operating expenditures last year were $12.6 million. The current year is $13.3 million, which is $714,000 increase, and that's due to our costs associated with COVID-19 prevention, our stimulus grants to reduce the impact of COVID-19, damage claims, wages, advertising, and gateway planning. Any questions?
Questions for Monica? As always, thank you, ma'am. Okay. Well, ever since lunch, I've been trying to think of a cute introduction, but
Hey, I got a cute one. We finally got a Lowe's. Wanted to announce that. They want to be at 1083. On this day, since it's so exciting to be here at this, what is this now, Thursday? On Tuesday, on this day in 1785, the dollar became the name for U.S. currency by the U.S. Congress. And since we're talking about dollars, we'll talking about dollars. Thought you'd know that. Unemployment. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about employment, but also unemployment numbers. Last few months, I've been kind of giving you a track down of what those look like from the last 3 years in comparison and where we're trending. The most recent one is 4.6%, which is trending in the right direction. If you recall, at the beginning of this year, it was 6.2% and has progressively each month gone down. Now, that's good and bad news. You still see many of our businesses that have now hiring signs and so forth. And so we've had conversations with both the Chamber, SHRM, and our industry leaders to review their needs and plans. We have also gotten back with Fort Hood. If you recall, about 3 years ago, we started a pipeline effort with Fort Hood in their discharge area for soldiers that were getting out of the military and out of service to possibly use their skills and fill some of the jobs we have here locally. So we've got that pipeline going. We'll be at their career fairs on August the 10th and September the 13th, and we'll report to you if there's any kind of connection there. And we'll, of course, be providing that information to to our businesses in our area as well. Currently on new economic development projects, we have about a dozen projects going, including local manufacturing expansion, a build-out for a new industry, several retail and commercial developments, as well as residential, bioeconomy, and hospitality projects. So far, more than 100 new primary jobs have been committed, and others will be following shortly. Quick update on Washington Commons. I'm kind of hurrying for you, Mayor, if this is okay. Washington Commons, and Mayor and I had lunch with the developers today, but we have been in meeting with them every few days. You've probably seen if you've driven by there. Vertical construction is well underway, and in fact, just today, the developers turned over the pad for Hobby Lobby, which is the farthest northwest part of that development. You actually see nothing there right now, but that'll be turned over for their own. They'll develop it separately, although it'll all be contiguous with the rest of the junior anchors along the back. The back side will have, of course, all those. You see some of the concrete and steel that's up there, and then the steel is also being erected for the other shops buildings. We will have some announcements on some of those other shop buildings very, very shortly. Those are always exciting to make announcements. I guess we've made about 9 announcements so far in that area, and we have about 153,000 square feet total worth of announcements to make. In the past 30 days, our office, moving forward here, in the past 30 days, our office has reached out to 25 new businesses who have presented as a match for Stephenville through our data analytics programs. It's one of those where it's a numbers game. I'm not suggesting we're going to get all 25 of those, but because of the match and the way that they do these things, it makes for a good opportunity to get some of those potentially. And how we'll use those is not just for standalone opportunities, but we'll also be able to pair those up with other developers that are looking to fill out their existing developments, either new ones or existing ones that are in place. So we'll have additional announcements in the coming weeks. Some of our existing economic development projects right now, there's some good news. Our facade improvement grant, you guys are well aware of this program. It was developed primarily to help our existing businesses, some of our local businesses. Going into this year, we had approved 18 of those. Well, we've since improved, just in the last couple of months, 19 additional ones. We have 37 approved grants for local businesses, so this is starting to really impact the look and feel of our existing businesses. I think what you're going to see in the coming months, some of these will not get started till this fall just because there's significant amount of work for them, but they will, by the end of the year, you're going to see a significant amount of change with some of our existing businesses, what we call legacy buildings, that will be updated and make our town look just a little bit better. So that's going to be nice. The Fireside District, one of the projects that was discussed earlier today, they're about 60% pre-leased. They're on track to sell out completely by August based on some of the information Mr. Barnes said earlier with the overflow at Tarleton. Obviously, there's some need for these kinds of things, but there's also some of those that are geared up for young professionals and so forth. The Edge on Washington was also sort of referenced in a backwards way earlier. They are 56% pre-leased, but they are leasing up about 10 to 15 beds per week. And so we anticipate that they will have a minimum of 90% occupancy by the time fall comes around. I want to clarify something that's been written. As it turns out, we are not getting 2 Whataburgers. That has been written.
Thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, I know that was something of great concern, especially when you want to build it, 50 feet down the road. Just to clarify. Yeah, no, well, we really like our Whataburger here. That is not the case. A couple of things on that one. First of all, that will be the only Whataburger for at least the time being. The previous or existing Whataburger there are a number of name brands that are being looked at, and there's some LOIs on that particular property. So we'll announce those as those get funneled down into an exact, detailed presentation. However, on the new one, you may have noticed that some of the signage is going up, and following our brethren in College Station, we will have some Tarleton, not that they have Tarleton, but some collegiate recognition there. There are only a couple of these around that have something other than just the Whataburger stripes. Obviously, there's some maroon stripes in College Station, and we have actually Tarleton signs that are up on this one that are already in place. So you'll get to enjoy those. And I think that was something we worked on from the very beginning when we worked on Whataburger years ago, and for it to come to fruition is kind of nice. A couple of other things, and then actually I have several things, but I'll just narrow those down.
Thank you.
CETA successfully worked with county officials to secure the adoption of the PACE, or Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. And you guys, I've sent everybody a text, or excuse me, an email a little bit earlier today, so y'all can read up on that. It's just a dashboard on that program. Pretty interesting deal. We're the 59th county in the state of Texas. I'll be working with the Texas PACE Authority. Right now, we have 3 businesses that are going to be able to use it. Well, let me rephrase that. They're in negotiations to utilize this program. Could not have made these improvements to their existing businesses or facilities without the adoption by the county. So I give kudos to the county for reviewing it and being able to adopt it. The city could have done it, but some of our projects will be outside of the city limits, and they still would have had to have that adoption. So that worked out really well. We actually have 9 projects in total that are eligible for it. Doesn't mean they're all going to get it or even look to get it, but this basically, in a nutshell, for our citizens, will help extend for clean energy improvements, which almost anything in an improvement of an existing building is going to be more energy efficient than what was already in there. And with that in place, this helps with the funding stack, to be able to spread some of that payment over the life cycle of those improvements. So instead of a 5-year call from a bank, which is nice for some of the other parts of that improvement, these improvements can go for the entire 15 or 20 years or whatever might be necessary. So automatically, there's a return on that investment by that business. And so they can start to receive revenue as opposed to always putting out their expense at the early part of it. So anyway, good stuff there. Lastly, I wanted to tell you that, we're not just doing retail, we're not just doing all these other things I mentioned, we're also very involved on the industry front. In April, we were represented at ProMat. In June, we were at the MPE. This was a plastics showcase. These were industrial type showcases at trade shows. We have been at those. That was a virtual one. We'll see where that goes. Those are hard to do on these kinds of efforts. But for the next several months, July, August, September, and October. In July, we'll be at the IFT, which is Food Production Science and Technology trade show. In August, we'll be at the AME, which is Advanced Manufacturing Expo. September, we'll be at FabTech, which is the largest metalworking show, and so forth. In October, where's probably like that? In October, we'll be at CAMEX, which is a Composites and Advanced Materials Expo as well. So again, fishing, throwing out the rod out there, trying to see what might look good for our area. We've kind of limited some of the scope of where we're going from an industry standpoint on, number one, what kinds of skill sets some of our folks already have here. Secondly, just in terms of what kind of fits our area a little bit better and what we've had the best chance of getting at this juncture. Could change next year as we continue to assess and reassess the kinds of things that we might have from an industry standpoint. Don't forget, we're also very, very heavily involved in the bioeconomy piece. I've talked about that numerous times. Some of those things are moving very rapidly right now. With the administration that's currently residing in Washington, there's been a big emphasis on some of the bioeconomy piece, bigger than it was. So I think this could be beneficial to our area, an area that is rich with cow poop. And on that, I'm done.
Any questions for Jeff?
Question, I do have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Unemployment 4.5%. I know a big mix of that, and this was really just to have the discussion because we need to have it.
Yeah.
A big mix of that. Are these people, we've got job signs everywhere. We don't have the people here to fill them?
No, we do in some cases. Some of the things, it takes about $37,000, according to, not me, according to other experts, to be able to have that weight between unemployment and what the government is currently giving out free and what you could have by actually having a job. Now, that doesn't mean that they're getting $37,000, but there is this fine line on when they make a decision, this gray area, where they could either go towards the unemployment, sit at home, or go towards the job market. And so as those, depending, we're going to have to watch the government's moves on that.
But those numbers of job openings, do we have more job openings than we have unemployed people?
No.
No.
That's a tough thing to answer, because typically when you get to about 5%, you are right at the full employment anyway. Right. And so we're below that. And what's happening in our area now, that more than ever before, is the amount of folks that are coming into our community to work. Historically, it was mostly local, went out a little bit into the county, maybe a little bit further. Now we have people even outside the county coming in. That, combined with growth from the existing businesses, not only on the industrial side, but even from the retail and commercial market, is drawing people into our community for those jobs. Now, what we're really watching, and we have to keep an eye on, is where that household and average income level is. If y'all recall, last time I reported, it's gone up about 17% in the last 3 or 4 years. That's good and bad. It's a great thing for our families. It's a tough thing for our businesses to have to keep up with other places such as Fort Worth or Dallas to compete for for wages and so forth. But as we tick up, it becomes a little bit, we draw from a larger area.
Right. And as we continue to bring more businesses, as a council, it's going to be very important that we're looking at housing, we're looking at things like that to get the right people. We can recruit all the people from Killeen we want, but I work in real estate, there's nowhere to live. So we've got to really work hard for that, to support our local businesses and to support bringing in new businesses. It's hard to bring in a new business when you can look and there's 12 houses on the market for sale inside your city.
Yeah, and most of them are going for way more than being asked for. And I think, you know, when you talk about...
That's everywhere, but there's just an inventory problem.
Yeah, there is. And when you talk about housing, it's not just about the housing development, it's access in many cases. It's the roadway. So you're really going to be making a transportation ingress and egress type decision down the road. How do we get there and not put it all on the developer, or understand at least what the developer's role is in all of this?
Anybody else? I want to say thank you to Jeff and to Alan and all y'all staff, your staff and all your staff, working hard to make this happen. I remember when we started this process, how many years ago, we were talking about $250 million in potential business coming to town. And that's not far off.
Not at all.
The day, I mean, we've had some $27 million construction. We've had a bunch of others as well. But just think about if the citizens were able to see what Jeff and Alan and Steve and Jason know, and what we have an NDA not to disclose, and we don't even know it all. It's pretty exciting about what the potential is for Stephenville, Texas. It really is. And we need to have another engineer come to work for us ASAP. Right? So I'm just putting that plug in, Mr.
Working on it,
Barnes.
sir.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, thank you, sir. Anything else?
Thank you. No,
I
appreciate it.
it.
Thanks for all y'all do.
Okay, consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to pull the audit contract discussion.
Pull the audit contract discretion, okay. Anything else? Do I hear further motion then on the minutes?
Move to approve meeting minutes from 6/1/21.
Second.
Alan seconded. We'll do a discussion there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We'll approve them. Mr. Haskey, item 23.
Just curious, so it said that the 40,425 was this, you're the point of contact for this, Monica. So, that 40,425 is for the audit services for this year. What was I know that when the RFP was accepted, is there an escalator built into that each year?
Yeah, let me pull that up, so I have that.
I know we discussed this in full council last year, so I was just curious.
Do we have that timer going? Just tease.
Okay, so it started out at 2018, it was 37,380. 2019 was 38,365. 2020 was 39,380. And 2021 is 40,425.
Okay.
And those prices all include the cost of the single audit
Right.
requirement.
And that does fall in line with the request for proposal that they made?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
With that, do you have a motion?
Mayor, approve the approval for the audit contract with Brooks Watson for fiscal year 2021-22.
There a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I have a few things tonight. The first thing is the council committee meetings will be July 20th at 5:30. The next regular council meeting will be August 3rd at 5:30. And the third thing, I'm going to call on our fire chief, Jimmy Chu, to do this for me. Because I refuse to do it.
I just want to say, tonight wasn't chosen at random. On July the 5th, a group of y'all's predecessors met with a group of local citizens 123 years ago when the Stingville Fire Department was born. Yesterday, 123 years ago. And
Darn.
tonight I'm going to do something I've dreaded doing for a long, long time. It is with much regret that I tender my resignation as chief of the Stingville Fire Department effective July the 30th, 2021, and begin my retirement. I have truly enjoyed working with the dedicated employees of the city. Their hard work has made it an interesting place to work, and I believe we have been able to accomplish many things for the citizens of Stephenville. In my 50-plus years with the department, I've been fortunate enough to see many improvements in the service we provide and the capabilities we possess. In that time, we have taken on emergency medical service and later transitioned to advanced life support. We have updated our equipment, added a second station, and grown employee numbers. We have become part of a state mutual aid system in both fire and EMS, and have individuals who serve in state command teams. Of this, I am very proud. Also, during my tenure, I have had the honor of working with some very progressive and far-sighted administrators, councils, and mayors. They have given us the support and resources to do great things, and then they have let us move forward. I now count many of these council members as my close friends, and I feel I have had the opportunity to work with 2 or 3 of the best mayors in our community's history. I'm very proud of my career with the city of Stephenville and for the opportunities it has provided. I thank all the employees of the city for what they have done and for the way they conduct themselves. They are the city, and they are what makes it great. I also wish to thank Mark Kaiser for his trust in appointing me to the rank of chief and for his leadership in helping me develop. I am also very proud and thankful to the employees of the Stephenville Fire Department. In my career, I have been fortunate to have been recognized as a leader in the fire service at the state level. These accolades are far more due to the people I work with than anything I have done personally. It is very easy to be perceived as good at what you do when you are surrounded by the best at what they do.
Amen.
All the people all the people that have ever worked with the SFD are my brothers and sisters, and always will be. I thank God for giving me the chance to work with this caliber of individuals and for giving me the leadership skills to get out of their way and let them do their jobs in a manner that they are capable. I would like to thank my mother and dad for instilling me a work ethic and values that allow me to be successful. I thank my kids who saw me get up at night and go to an incident or work on weekends, but always seemed to understand because they had never known me as anything but a firefighter. And lastly, but most of all, I would like to thank my best friend and my wife, Betty. She has never complained when plans had to be changed on the last minute or I didn't come home on time. And she always there with an encouraging word and good advice when I wanted and needed it. I would not be where I am without her beside me. In closing, best wishes to the city, the Stephenville Fire Department, and I look forward to serving Stephenville at the next level. Thank y'all.
We're all going to have comments later. Thank you, Jimmy. We know that was hard.
Now, you know why I didn't want to do it.
I understand. Comments, we'll have another opportunity to discuss this at another meeting later. So let's go on. Comments by city council members, place one.
Well, I told you before that I've known you my whole life. I grew up across the street from Jimmy and Betty, and I've never not known you as a fireman. So I appreciate everything that you've done, not only for my family personally, from being across the street and being the fireman and a fire chief, but for this city. You've made a huge impact, and I know I am blessed to have known you and worked now, just for a couple of months, worked alongside you. But thank you for everything you've done.
Justin.
Chief, we know that you're a staple like the Chandler Mansion. Here in Stephenville. Nearly as old, huh?
Ooh, tie that together.
No. Hey, I've just been a snot-nosed kid. I was gonna say I'm just a snot-nosed kid in your eyes. So, and the things that Chris and you could say about me and Chris. So, we appreciate your service and everything that you've done for this community and for the country. I know that you've lended your services. You and Chuck have gone all over this world, you know, chasing fires and protecting people. So I appreciate everything that you have done and what you've meant for this community. You've truly been a great beacon and a great representative and ambassador for the city. And thank you.
Darren?
Jimmy, thank you for your service. I look forward to seeing what Betty has you do next. I look forward to seeing her drag you to some tailgates and put you to work at the Alumni Association, seeing you around. So thank you so much for your years of service.
You told me I'll have plenty of time to address him in the future.
Oh, yeah, we'll have.
Is he actually going to show up to this one?
Yes, he will.
Okay, are you actually going to show up when we come and honor you here pretty soon? Are you going to come to that?
I think so.
Okay. I want to make sure, because I don't want to miss out.
I'm thinking about it now.
I know. And the second thing, I need to make sure you're really retired, because it seems like for about 10 years now, it's always been, that chew's going to retire pretty quick.
That's
He's
exactly
going to retire next year.
I've heard that 100 times.
Yeah, so I need to make sure this is it. No take-backs, right? We good?
We'll let you know.
Okay, so I'll come to the next meeting and get surprised by both of these. Okay. Hey, great 4th of July,
It was.
by the way.
It was.
Jimmy, I don't know what else to say, but thank you. I mean, for over 50 years of service, I don't know if there's really a whole lot of words other than thank you. You've been a blessing to the city for many, many years.
Jim, I may be telling too much, but I do remember you when you weren't a fireman. I remember when you used to come next door to Pumpkin's house and play, and I remember those days fondly, because those were good days and good times, and I appreciate Bill's Lawnmower Shop and the hours that you worked there, as well as working for the city. And you used to come to Nick's Hardware to get a piece of angle iron this long. I remember all those things, and they're all fondly, and I certainly appreciate your dedication and your service to the city and the citizens of Stephenville. I don't know how you have done it as well as you have for as long as you have, but I appreciate you and your family more than I can say. And I appreciate all that you have done for us and what you will continue to contribute to this community, because I know you, and I know you're not just going to sit back and do nothing, and I appreciate that about you as well. Thank you so much. And please, one of these days when you go to one of the cowboy shoots, give me a holler, and I'd like to ride with you and watch.
Carol?
Jimmy, thank you. I also remember Jimmy from a long time ago, and everything. He's responsible for my son being alive today, and because he took my wife on an emergency run to Fort Worth to Harris Hospital when my son was when she went into labor, and they had to get over there to the doctor as soon as possible. And at that time, Stephenville had just started having emergency services here, and Jimmy was the guy that did it. Thank you very much for that. I've reminded him of it several times, and he's reminded me of that a little bit too. But you've mean a lot. You've done a lot for this community. You've given your heart and soul in it, and you're a special person. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your friendship, Jimmy. Thank you.
Well, when you go last, everybody said everything, but,
We're going reverse
but-
next time.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, I just appreciate you, Jimmy, that the mark of a man is to leave someplace better than he found it. You definitely have built a legacy and a tradition for the fire department to build on, and we're in a great spot, and you've left it in good hands, and we appreciate that and all the work that you've done for the fire department, but for this community, and all the different organizations and time and stuff that you've donated. So thank you, sir. Enjoy golf and all the other things that you get to do a lot more of. So, and then I appreciate the amount of people, I say this every time, I appreciate the amount of people that are here for our meetings and come and be involved in your local community. That's what matters. We may not always agree, but the discussion is important, and it's how we grow as a community and how you have your voice in government. So thank you all, everybody that showed up.
But Jimmy, you're among the best. Everybody knows that. And this recognition is not over. Just want you to know that as well. Well, you're going to have to come back up here again, and sometime after the 30th probably, but you're going to be back up here again. Thank you for your service. First time I met you, our kids were snot-nosed, about 8, 7, 6, something like that, in daycare center, and with a fireman there who told me a lot about you. You know, Bill gave me a lot of insight into who you are, and I appreciate what you've done for Stevensville, Texas. I appreciate the phone call you made after my wife died. So, we'll be back. So, yeah, it's not going to be this at the end of it.
Okay.
We'll have a roast. You're not going to come up with
We
complaints.
will. I want to have about 15, 20 minutes, so.
You got all the time. What I want to know is, you said you had a lot of stuff on Justin. Know a lot about him. I don't know if Brady knows a lot about Justin. No, just.
I don't know anything about Justin.
Oh,
I've never even met him before.
Thank you, though. I appreciate you.
He and my son decided to fake a kick one time against the coaches.
Against the coaches, better. Did it work?
No.
In compliance with the provision of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, annotated in accordance with Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. We will recess this city council meeting and go into executive session. We will be back. 7:54, call us back into city council meeting. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to authorize the sale of city property as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, further discussion? Proceed to vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed, motion passes. No other items are on the agenda tonight, so at 7:54, we can adjourn.